I'm expecting probably a lot of the same as all the previous years. You're still going to see a lot of Ravens running the football. We might see them open up the passing game a little bit more. It'll be year 2 for Zay Flowers, so it'll be interesting to see if he continues to develop. He had an amazing rookie season, really stood out. And then I'd like to see Rashad Bateman continue to improve and grow.
So would we.
In year 8.
Yeah, I know.
49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall released from the hospital after being shot in the chest during a robbery attempt out in the open. I think it's called Union Square or something like that, where it took place.
Middle of the day.
It was like 3 p.m. and he wasn't targeted because he's a 49ers player. It was just a random robbery attempt. I guess they struggled for the weapon. Ended up getting the robbery suspect with his own weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So they did arrest the guy. Pearsall's out of the hospital, but just before we started recording, I did look up. He is on the non-football injury list, so he will miss the first 4 games of the season.
I'll add this to the injury part. It's actually not an injury, but it's just Trent Williamson, unhappy, probably going to miss time. I just read a couple hours ago with his contract. He's holding out game 1.
Whoa.
He's doing it again, huh?
So
really?
Yeah. That is a injury to the overall team's ability to play ball.
I think they can.
Is Tua becoming the Kirk Cousins? Can't win a playoff game?
I think he's becoming the Kirk Cousins, the Dak Prescott, where he's always good enough, but not good enough to get to that next
good numbers, regular season.
Yes. Yeah. I think you're right. I think Mike McDaniel's kind of,
he understands he knows
the player, what the players need nowadays.
He's a player's coach.
For sure. Flag football is set to make its Olympic debut in 2028. Should NFL players be allowed to participate? I know that quarterback or whatever for the team is like, no, you know, I'm just as good as Mahomes type deal, blah, blah, blah. Should NFL players even participate? Should teams write it into their contract that they cannot, so they don't risk tearing an ACL or something insane? You know what I mean? Is it legal to write that into a contract? I thought it was kind of funny, not really a bonehead move by the Chargers players or by anybody. It's just kind of a malfunction, but Chargers players stuck in an elevator for a hot minute. Did you guys hear about that one?
I did not.
Yeah, there's including Justin Herbert was among them, but a group of players and staff or whatever stuck in an elevator for a little while.
Oh, hopefully he wasn't kicking the door there, Justin. We need that foot.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to play more than 40 seconds again?
Ooh.
I'm going to hype myself up for this one. Truly, I was really hyped for last year's game when he came out with the American flag, New York Jets. I'm like, oh, it's a new window. The Jets have a great defense. They're Super Bowl contenders, and that ended in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and all you guys can join us too. We have a Pigskin Pickem set up. I'll throw the link on the bottom side of this video so you can come in there, make all the picks too, play along with us all season long. So it'll be fun.
Get laced up. Let's go. It's time for Banter with the boys.
Yo, welcome back to Banter with the Boys. Gridiron updates. We're at week 1, gentlemen. Week 1 of the NFL season. Obviously, with me today, we got our co-host, Rob. Rob, what's going on this week, brother?
Not much. Just spent some time with the family at the dog tracks. My dog was actually racing in the doodle race, so hung out there with the fam. It was pretty cool. It was the best in show, so yeah, it was a fun time.
Your dog was the best in show?
No, it didn't quite make. Well, the tournament this weekend was the best in show. She previously won another race to qualify to get to this race.
Of course.
So go busy.
All right. You were also busy this week in the last, 48 whatever hours building our new set.
Yes.
If you guys notice,
we're here.
Rob did an excellent job on it, and it is installed, ready to go for you guys for week 1. Craziness. Obviously, right here in the middle, we got our guest, Jake, this week. He is a Ravens fan. I almost said Falcons again.
Again, yeah, I know. That would have been the 3rd time. And for the record, I'm also the half Packer fan that he made reference to during the pregame or the preseason.
He listened.
Yeah.
He listened to the episode. The
Absolutely.
preseason.
So definitely, I heard
had to
that.
make sure we weren't talking crap right away.
Right. That's right.
All right.
Prepare myself.
Fair
Some
enough.
ammunition.
Well, welcome. I'm
Thanks
excited.
for having me.
Yeah, no, it's exciting to have somebody other than just Vikings fans in here.
Exactly.
So yeah, we're really excited about his take on the Ravens and kind of what their season is going to look like this year. But before we do any of that, we just wanted to make sure you guys all know that this episode once again is brought to you by the Cappy. The Cappy again, kind of our do-all can opener, cover, whatever you want to do. You can open cans with them. You can go ahead and flip that thing around, put it back down, and recover the hole. I'm not going to pour it out for you. That is not its purpose, but it will keep those bugs out. So if you do have, see,
there you go already.
See, it does not keep the liquid in, but it does keep bugs out.
Yeah, they're attracting already on the sugars. I just used it at Rib Fest a couple weeks ago, and my mom is a big can drinker, so she threw that right on there when we're cooking ribs because the bees were coming around the barbecues and covered it right up.
Imagine.
Worked smooth.
For sure.
It's perfect for tailgating season too.
It's coming.
Football season,
yep,
tailgate season.
Yep, absolutely. And also, even though it's like the unofficial end of summer, fall's rolling in, campfires, bonfires, evenings.
True.
Perfect.
True.
I'm in
True.
and all that.
Absolutely. And don't forget, obviously, it does have, it's all wet. Gosh, don't forget, it does have a key ring option, so you can keep it on your keychain, ready to go for you. But yeah, again, thanks to the Cappy for sponsoring this episode of Gridiron Updates.
Yeah, get it at Amazon.
Amazon 4-pack. With that, let's head right into our week 1 episode. I did want to just kind of remind everybody how this will work this season. So right off the rip, usually we will have kind of our 5-game recap. You know, the week before we'll preview 5 games, which is what we will be doing at the end of this episode. And then we will recap those 5 games to start.
Otherwise known
next
as making fun of everyone's picks.
Correct. Making fun of everybody's picks, making sure everybody knows how experienced we are as armchair GMs.
Yep.
But we have none of that this week. But anyway, after the recap, then we'd head into our tent talk. That includes any injuries, free agent signings, trades, any news, whatever that may be.
Maybe some of your questions too.
Maybe some of your questions. It might be a great spot to throw that in there. So comment any questions, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, whatever, wherever you're watching the banter. And then right after that, we'll always have our Bonehead Move of the Week. Kind of a little goofy segment where, you know, we kind of make fun of people a little bit about their decision making when they're making all this money as professionals. But excited about another year of Bonehead Move of the Week. And then, of course, we finish the episode with our, you know, predictions and kind of go into the next week's slate of 5 games that, you know, we preview. And then we just kind of close out the show from there. But again, this week, no 5 games to recap because we didn't have any. Rob, real quick, before I have a special question for Jake, the newcomer this week.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
None
no
at
pressure
all.
at all.
It's all on me right now.
Featured guest. How do you feel about how the Vikes wrapped up preseason? Just because we're Vikings fans, you know, might as well lay it on me. Any surprises on the roster cuts?
No, I felt like there was a few, I think, defensive linemen and people are questioning. Bo, it was one of the things.
I liked Bo and Andre Carter.
Yeah, those were the 2 that I was going to mention. I think they kept one up an extra receiver, and then they also dumped that running back.
Gaskin?
No.
Or
Kane.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably the biggest surprise, honestly, out of the roster moves that I would say. But in general, other than JJ, and Addison, we came out of it pretty healthy.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah.
Well, I am concerned that right now the Vikes are heading into the season with 2 running backs in the NFL. That seems scary to me.
It does.
And we got a fullback, but one of the better ones in the league, I would say. But 2 running backs in the NFL, that's just not going to cut it. I do expect some sort of move. No idea what that's going to be, but I am expecting them to make some sort of one more move. I thought maybe a return to Dalvin Cook, but we'll get into where he has gone somewhere else this season. Ugh.
I don't need it.
But anyway, Jake.
Yo.
Welcome to Gridiron Updates.
Glad to be here.
Since you are a Ravens fan, that one was on purpose. But
at least he likes purple. You know?
Yeah. We can get behind the purple. We can get behind the purple.
It's a better purple, but yeah.
All right.
Well, all right. He's done.
It's a new
short
purple.
leash. Short leash. Retract. But anyway, with the Ravens this season, what are you expecting as a Ravens fan? What are you expecting out of them heading into 2024 here?
So what I'm expecting, probably a lot of the same as all the previous years. You're still going to see a lot of Ravens running the football. We might see them open up the passing game a little bit more. It'll be year 2 for Zay Flowers, so it'll be interesting to see if he continues to develop. He had an amazing rookie season, really stood out. And then I'd like to see Rashad Bateman continue to improve and grow.
So would we.
In year 8.
Yeah, I know. But I always thought he was a great player. I mean, coming out of Minnesota, we saw a lot of them on TV. Yeah. So, and then the biggest thing though for me is like seeing Derrick Henry in purple and black. It's so amazing. And I'm glad to see that he's on our side, wrecking defenses instead of us having to tackle him. He's a beast. Like, everyone talks about how Roquan Smith is arguably like the best linebacker in the NFL right now.
Linebacker,
yeah, absolutely. And Derrick Henry makes Roquan look small, and
he does.
He's a big human being.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely looking forward to the Lamar and Derrick Henry tandem.
Well, and you talk about looking to see the Ravens open up the passing game a little bit more. I mean, having Derrick Henry in the backfield is only going to help that because now you have at least. At some point in the game, you have to stack the box. You have to keep that rushing honest. And with Derrick Henry back there, I mean, you have to account for him at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to definitely see a lot of 7 and 8 man fronts, and will hopefully then allow even Mark Andrews to open up the middle of the field for him too. Yeah,
recovering from a car accident.
Yeah.
How do you feel about? You guys did lose a few people, especially up front. Is that going to slow down Derrick Henry, or is the Lamar effect still with the RPOs?
Good question.
Is going to still continue to not see a change?
Yeah, that's a really good question. There was a lot of offensive line change. We lost 2 key starters. I think it's Simpson and Zeitzel, so both of our big guards, and obviously moving some pieces around. Taking Falele out of the tackle spot and putting him into the guard. We'll see how he transitions there. His footwork has been kind of sloppy, but if he can get him rolling, those RPOs will be. I think they'll be good. They just need some time to mesh, just like any good O-line.
I gotcha.
Yeah, I think the RPO, any option really with Lamar Jackson is going to be dangerous. Yeah. And now that he continues to, and I know we talked about it a little bit last year on the show, but as he continues to gain more experience, you can tell he's being smarter about when and how he runs the ball. Yeah. But I mean, when he does, it's an absolute weapon. Absolute weapon. And again,
he's amazing on just avoiding the big hit. I think that's one of his best assets. He just lands always in a safe general spot where he's never taken the big hit.
And that's where somebody like Anthony Richardson needs to take heed of that. I'd like to say Josh Allen, but for some reason he just takes it and he's able to get up, but he definitely plays injured half the time because of he just lowers his shoulder as every opportunity he gets. Another guy, Jaden Daniels, take a look at how Lamar Jackson plays for sure. If you're a dual threat quarterback, you have to protect your body. Look at RG3 years ago. It's part of it.
Yeah, Daniels would be the exact body type of this Lamar, I would say.
Absolutely. Lamar light for sure.
Yep. So
for sure. Well, if where did the Ravens finish this year for you? Are they not only winning the division? Are they going to be that 1-2 seed in the AFC for you?
The AFC North is always a tough division. So if
full of great defenses.
Great defenses. If Joe Burrow stays healthy, I think the Bengals will give the Ravens definitely a run for their money for winning the division. It'll probably be tough.
What about Cleveland? Cleveland's in there.
Deshaun Watson hasn't proven himself to be able to stay healthy enough.
What about that defense?
The defense is legit, and I totally get that. Like in the NFC North, those games, especially in the back half of the season when it's cold, the weather's just absolutely awful. Like you have to rely on the defense to win the game. So you're going to get 13-10 games or 10-7. It's going to be ugly, but those are amazing games for me to watch.
Sure. Speaking of the cold weather, again, another example where Derrick Henry could shine, just run the rock, you know what I mean?
Agreed. And this is one of the divisions in the preseason we talked about is probably might be one
toughest,
of the best.
if not the best.
Agreed.
All 4 teams were above 500, which rarely ever happens.
That's tough.
And that's with Cincinnati without Joe Burrow at full health. So that's a stacked division. So as a Ravens fan, one key injury here or there.
Oh, absolutely.
It could be a change of the season.
So you talked about the Bengals. Did I miss it though? Where do you see them? What's their seeding as we head into the playoffs? I imagine you have them making the playoffs.
Yeah. So I'll still put Ravens 1, Bengals 2. I think Steelers are going to be 3 with Browns 4. Yeah.
Whoa.
But definitely, I think all 4 teams are going to be above 500 again this year. And you'll probably see 3 teams from the North in the playoffs.
Wow, but you're thinking the Ravens are going to be the top one though.
In the division, yeah. Probably the way the schedule shakes out, they might probably get first, more than likely second seed.
Okay. Hey, fair enough.
Calling my shot right now.
Calling a shot right now. I have him up there.
Take it down.
Take it down. Take it to the bank. Or around here, you take that thing to what? Diamond Joe's in Iowa?
Yes.
So
not quite. Just get close enough to the border where you can pick it up.
Right. Oh, true.
Not letting any secrets out there.
Sure. With that, obviously, this is where we normally recap those games. Nothing to recap. Jake gave us an excellent outlook of how the Ravens season is going to work this year, according to him. Classic armchair GM, just like the rest of us. With that, let's head right into Tent Talk. And starting off the Tent Talk for us, 49ers receiver Ricky Pearsall released from the hospital after being shot in the chest during a robbery attempt out in the open. I think it's called Union Square or something like that, where it took place.
Middle of the day.
It was like 3 p.m. and he wasn't targeted because he's a 49ers player. It was just a random robbery attempt. I guess they struggled for the weapon. Ended up getting the robbery suspect with his own weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So they did arrest the guy. Pearsall's out of the hospital, but just before we started recording, I did look up. He is on the non-football injury list, so he will miss the first 4 games of the season. Is that a big loss to the 49ers? We probably don't know yet because they don't really know fully what they have in them, but you draft a guy for a reason.
Yeah,
Glad he's okay.
Yeah, I heard it was over a Rolex, the middle of the day, and then I did see some video of him walking himself to the ambulance. So
he was all right.
So in that aspect,
cool. Sorry, go. Sorry.
No, I totally lost what I was saying.
My bad.
No, you're good.
I'm just over here, distracting you. But according to his mother,
but where was he in the depth chart of them? Was he 3 or 4?
So he's probably going to be 3 because he's going to be behind Debo and Brandon Ayuk. Spoiler alert: we'll have conversations about that, I believe, a little bit later on.
Yeah.
And in the offense, how many do they run? 3 sets, wide receivers, a lot, or is it more 2 tight end?
It depends where Debo's lined up. Debo, you can line up anywhere. You got George Kittle. It's tough.
The fullback, what's like
Juszczyk. You can use him almost any position too.
Yeah, so. he's a true fullback, but I mean, you could definitely put him in the tight end slot.
The H back.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. But that's where Debo lives, a little bit. Debo will be in the backfield, so it's hard to say if they have a true, 3 receiver set, but I would imagine he'd be on the field.
I think Shanahan. If you look at his tape out of college, when I see it, I think like he's like a mini Debo. Like you're gonna end up like doing the end arounds, sweeps, reverses, whatever. You're just gonna want to get the ball in his hands. He's just gonna make plays. Yep. He's got amazing hands too. So
for sure,
yeah,
for sure. Where was he out of again? Florida.
Florida, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked pretty cut. We went to walk into the ambulance. I was like, "You really wanted to pick on that guy?"
Well, so do I, but it doesn't mean I'm good at football.
Fair.
Anyway, Moving on. AJ Dillon done for the season. Something in his neck, whatever. It was the Packers' number 2 punch. Probably gonna have another decent one too with who's there, Josh Jacobs, but nothing. I don't really have anything to go on for AJ Dillon. Another hard guy to tackle.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to contribute much. I mean, when's the last time he's been really effective for the Packers over the last 2-3 years?
So like the end of 2022, I thought he came on really strong. Again, just like a winter running backs.
Yeah, that late playoff push.
Yeah,
I feel like he made his
big
name.
battering ram. You're not going to want to tackle him when it's like 10 degrees out.
No.
But without Aaron Jones, it's just like he's definitely a good number 2 to a good number 1.
Right.
I think like that's definitely is like the more thunder lightning field to it, and he's definitely the thunder part of that. But just I think he took a step backwards last season when he did get those opportunities. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe he gets a year off, get back to health, get back to doing what he knows how to do. What is he out of again? Wasn't he out of Georgia or something?
Boston College.
Boston College.
There it is.
Boston College. Jake.
I actually didn't know that. You got me on one.
So I mean, I thought he was SEC for sure, but all good. Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr. also to miss the first 4 games of the season. I don't think a huge surprise there. He's just whatever. When he's in, he can contribute and at least draw a little bit of coverage to him. Still a pretty good route runner, but not to start 2024.
Yeah, he's a certified 3, I think, at this point.
Yeah, especially on the Dolphins roster. Yeah, he's gonna be your 3, and I don't think they're gonna miss him.
No,
like right out
probably
of the
not.
gates,
because they're a speed offense, and he's not really
Doesn't have speed, but he'd be a good safety blanket down low. He's your check down guy now. That's
fine.
That's the part he's at in his career.
good third down, solid hands. I mean, in college, if you watch some of his tape, it was absolutely ridiculous what he did in college.
Oh yeah, for sure. And staying with the Dolphins, actually, on the defensive side of the ball, Jalen Phillips will be back from his Achilles that he tore last year around, like, I think it was Thanksgiving, something like that. He had 6.5 sacks in 8 games. Not bad. I mean, you got to have a guy like that. But again, recovering from an Achilles, that's tough. No matter what position you play, I'd imagine. I've never torn an Achilles, but.
Yeah, I feel like as soon as he went down last year, that Dolphins team changed. That's when I feel like they started not being the dominant team. Because didn't they start off 8-1 last year?
I think so.
And then,
like that.
and then
really
a little
strong.
bit after that, their defense, they had no one else to get at the ball. So if he's somewhat back to it, I think that's going to be a huge, advantage for that team.
Yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure.
Any injuries that you guys can think of off the top of your head that I'm missing? Any Ravens I didn't mention that might be out, other than the honorable mention of Rashad Bateman? We love Bateman here in Minnesota, but brother, you got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
he knows
please.
it. We don't need to tell him. I think he could still be a great player, but
Just kind of on the wait for Keaton Mitchell to get back and healthy. He's still going to be out the first couple of weeks, but he's going to be Derrick Henry's like number 2, which.
sure.
And those 3 or 4 games where he really shined last year, like you saw the potential in what he can actually bring to the table as your third down back or your change of pace guy. So definitely looking forward to seeing him back in the.
And with Derrick Henry, again, just another great option to have.
Yep.
I know for us, we're still going to be missing TJ till probably bye week.
Yeah, at
to
least
be
by
honest.
week, yeah.
So
And no more J.K. Dobbins for you guys.
I mean that's
3 years of injuries I think you had with him.
which is unfortunate.
It
That
was.
dude had a ridiculous amount of potential and was a
Absolutely.
beast at Ohio State.
Absolutely. He had so much potential. I was really looking forward to seeing what he could do. And then, 3 bad breaks in 4 years.
Now he's with the Chargers, I believe.
Yep.
So
Yep.
he'll
With
get
the other
another.
Harbaugh.
He'll have another attempt. So the talent's there.
It's
so
a good fit for him.
Yeah, the
I'm a
league
Chargers fan, too.
recognizes.
It's a good fit for him.
Yeah,
I
and then
agree.
you got Gus too. You got
Yeah, I know.
2 Ravens.
Former Ravens just filling up the running back room out there in LA.
But I'll add this to the injury part. It's
Go for
actually
it.
not an injury, but it's just Trent Williamson, unhappy, probably going to miss time. I just read on a couple hours ago with his contract. He's holding out game 1.
Whoa.
He's doing it again, huh?
So
Really?
Yeah.
that is a injury to the overall team's ability to play ball.
Interesting.
So,
Yeah.
Really?
As
Trent
of-
Williamson?
yep.
Is it just Williams or is it
I think it's
Williamson?
just Williams.
Trent Williams.
Williams,
The left
yeah.
tackle, right?
Yep, the left tackle.
The best one in the game.
Yep.
Wow. Interesting. He's on the last year of his deal,
No, I think he had 2 left.
and he's unhappy. He just
Yeah, I think he wanted to restructure. Just,
after Darisaw signed.
Yep. When money moves, that ego wants to go with it.
No, I get you. Well,
but he earned it too. So
for sure. He's
it.
still the best left tackle in the game, in my GM armchair opinion. Staying with potential signings or not signings.
Yeah.
CD Lamb finally getting signed. Jerry Jones did finally make that a priority. 4-year, $136 million deal. How do we feel about that? I feel like you have to.
It had to be done.
Gotta pay the guy.
Yeah. I feel like you have to. He's arguably top 5 receiver in the league right now?
For sure he is. Yeah. And right now that team, they don't have anything else for weapons. They need him. I mean, you have Ferguson, who's a nice little player.
He's a nice piece.
You have Braylon Cooks, 31. So you can't depend on him to be a one. And then the running back spot isn't still in question.
You got 2 old vets back there, essentially.
Yeah.
I say old vet, and I'm the exact same age as Dalvin Cook. But you got 2 old vets back there for NFL age, especially for running back age. It's a good opportunity for Dallas with Dalvin. I'd start him and then have Zeke kind of come in for your goal line or anything within like the 15-yard line. But Dallas is going to be tough. And staying on Dallas really quick, Dak Prescott does not have a new deal. He's entering the final year of his contract, same as head coach Mike McCarthy. And Jerry Jones has also kind of said, like, hey, it's more about where we're at as a team and a situation than what Dak has brought to us. Is that foretelling that this is Dak's last season in Dallas?
I don't think it'll be Dak's last season in Dallas, because if you look at if you're trying to look ahead to next year already, the caliber of quarterbacks in college football that are going to be eligible to draft is not like it was this past year.
I would agree with that.
And so you missed out on a great opportunity. Now, granted, things will probably change over the next couple of months, and somebody might just come out of nowhere like Jaden Daniels did. And then even like just NFL free agency, I don't think you're going to see the caliber of quarterbacks that are going to be out there available.
I'm going to throw some at you and see if it sticks. Does Dallas go with like a Shedeur Sanders next year? Is that something
that's what I was going to bring up?
Is that something they're looking at?
Where are they going to be high enough in the draft though? Because I think with that team, I mean, you projected them to win the division.
I think I did predict them to win the division.
So that means they're in the late 20s getting a draft pick, and Sanders is not going anywhere near the
probably
20.
top 10.
Yeah,
top 5.
If the hype with Shedeur is what it is, there's no way that Dallas is going to land him unless they decide to trade a gang of picks.
Yeah. How often is there a sign and then trade in the NFL? I feel like that doesn't happen as often as like other sports. Like, could they sign Dak and then trade him to trade up to get like a Shedeur?
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think it's ever been a thing with the quarterbacks. Like, why would you?
I don't think so either. It's kind of like here's a deal, slap in the face, you're gone. Now we're gonna go get our guy.
Because I think a lot of it you end up seeing the other team already will have like conversations behind the scenes with their agent. Absolutely. Like, all right,
absolutely,
we'll do this trade, and then this is what our deal is going to be. Do they want to actually move forward with that? Because like Dak's got the no trade clause, and a no franchise tag clause. So if he doesn't get re-signed, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah. How old is he now? 30.
Gotta be pushing it. No,
he's not that
he's
old.
Under 35. He's like 30. He's like 30. I think he'd be a good option for most teams in the league. I think it is interesting that Mike McCarthy's entering his last year of his deal. I just think it gives Jerry Jones and the Cowboys an out if they have a bad season. Okay, no more Mike McCarthy. Okay, Dak's gone. We're going to restart. We still have CD Lamb. You know what I mean? I think the Cowboys are setting up for an out just in case I'm completely wrong and they do not win the division. I think if they win the division and if they can get to the NFC Championship game, I think they re-sign Dak no matter what. But if not, I don't know. He's 31 years old. 31, Dak. Yeah. So he could garner another 3-year deal.
For sure.
But I think that's all like the Cowboys would be willing to like put into him is just like 3 years. I don't know if they go past that, or do you think they lock him up?
I think Jerry's really playing with fire here. If the idea is to try and like save as much money as you possibly can, because you still have the other side of the ball that you have to worry about.
100%.
With Micah Parsons?
Yeah, for sure. So the question then is it's a game of chicken, right? So who's going to blink first here? Is it going to be Dak, where Dak's like, I need a new contract and I don't want to get hurt and get screwed out of a whole bunch of money, because we've seen that happen before to players on the last year of their contract. And then also, whereas Jerry Jones is probably trying to save as much money as possible. But if Dak lights it up again this year, Dak's going to be like, hey, I wanted 60 million. Maybe I'm worth 65 now. And you just lost some, cap. Yeah.
That's tough. It's tough. I'm glad it's not my decision. Are you grinding gears over there?
I'm just kind of looking at the rest of their roster and seeing who's free agents. Kind of anything big other than DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin. So those are probably the biggest two that I see.
Zach Martin's not going to be cheap either.
Yeah.
So, or maybe they're really in love with Trey Lance and then they're moving on.
That's
to him.
not it. We'll move on now, because that's definitely not the case. Did you see the video of Trey Lance in camp? He's out here staring down the slot receiver, and then nickel corner, whatever. Yeah. Somebody comes up and is just standing there, and he's still staring down the defense and throws it right at him. I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I wanted the kid here.
Yeah.
Oh god. Anyway, move on. Brandon Ayuk stays in the Bay, 4-year, $120 million extension after we thought that he was maybe going to get traded to the Steelers, which they desperately need some help at receiver a little bit, and then sign there. Does not. He stays with San Francisco. Is it worth all that money for San Francisco? When you have everything else in place right now, when does Brock Purdy, when is he due to get a contract? Is it within those 4 years? I should have looked that up. I did not.
I think they got another year two with
before
him.
Brock would be getting a deal.
I think Purdy is under
his third year, I believe.
Contractual, before he can get anything.
Yeah, fourth year. But they'll want to, that'll be an interesting question then next year is like, is he the quarterback franchise money that they want to pay him?
Right.
Or do they kind of give him that Jordan Love middle of the money, kind of prove it again one more year?
See, and that's more where I lean. But at the same time, he keeps proving everybody wrong. And maybe we just keep viewing him that way because he's Mr. Irrelevant, but
true.
I don't know.
Exactly.
It's the same way we view Trevor Lawrence, right? We keep giving that guy chances. Now he looked better last year.
Yep.
But we kept giving him chances, his first 3-4 years, whatever it may be, and he was not looking that awesome. But because he was that first round pick and all the talent in the world coming into the league for the last, for the 4 years before he even entered the league. Same thing with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do those guys get looked at differently because of their first rounders?
Yeah. I mean, if Purdy was a first round draft pick, would we even be talking about
this? Isn't a conversation.
It's not even a conversation.
I agree.
So it's just the perception where he was drafted is, what's dragging us down,
Sure. But no, I think it's a great job for the 49ers. Way to keep Brandon Ayuk. He's kind of an under the radar guy when everybody's worried about Kittle and Debo and CMC and Purdy himself, and now you got Brandon Ayuk still running routes out there.
Yeah. And I think that, for them, it's keeping the band together. Like, they're a Super Bowl contender. They're right there. So they're putting whatever they can to keep that, the team together.
Their window's now.
It is now.
Their window is now.
So devil's advocate here.
I like it.
I think Brandon Ayuk is overpaid.
I would agree with you on that.
I mean, I think so too. That's what I mean. That's why I was curious to bring it up. I think it's still a great addition to keep him there.
Absolutely, but
it is a lot of money.
It is.
And at that rate, absolutely. Because when you're thinking about the skill players, Brandon Ayuk is not like one or two. He's fourth. He's fourth on your list. You're like, I got to worry about CMC. I got to worry about Debo. I got to worry about Kittle. And now Brandon Ayuk.
And now you're paying Brandon Ayuk $30 million a year. What does JJ get? 35?
Yep.
35 a year?
Yeah, because the CD was 34? Is that what
he's right underneath?
Right underneath
he's
that average?
Right underneath JJ, yeah.
So, yeah.
Great point.
I think he's a little bit. I actually put him above Kittle in overall aspect
Absolutely
of target, in my opinion.
But,
I think Kittle's he's still a great player, but I think he's taken a quarter step back. He would blow up in games
last year.
He had a 3 touchdown. Like, if you watch receiver, like, he won games where he'd catch 3 passes for 24 yards.
Yeah, for sure.
So, but I mean, all players end up doing it at some aspect. But if I was in fantasy reasons, I would definitely Kittle's drop down on my list of he's out of the top 10.
Yeah, fair enough. Moving right along, Stephon Gilmore comes to the Vikes for a 1-year, $10 million deal. They have the money. Blackman's done for the year. I think it's a great move to bring in a veteran presence into that younger cornerback room.
I would agree. And then as a Ravens fan, I'm going to throw that
full of veterans.
Yeah. Well, you went against him as when he was at the Colts.
Yeah.
Was he a game changer for the Colts in a lot of the Raven games he played?
So yeah, even when you watched him play in Dallas too, even with Trevon Diggs when he was out, still a really good corner. Definitely makes you think about throwing at him. Sure. The veteran presence there, I think it'll be good because I think your Vikings front seven is super young, and they need some veteran presence on the back end.
It's nothing but vets now on the back end. Even Andrew Bynum now. You got Andrew Bynum, Harrison Smith, and then your corners are Byron Murphy, Shaq Griffin, and Stephon Gilmore. I mean, it is
Duke
more
Shelley.
veteran. And then Duke Shelley got cut.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
Duke.
the rest of them are all young.
I want you back.
The rest of them are all young.
Yeah.
Are the guys I'm talking about. But
I hear you.
I hope Blackman stays in the building. I'd imagine they do. I don't know how that works for season-ending injuries or whatnot, but I feel like they can.
He was great depth. Overall, we needed one more corner.
Great signing.
You know,
Great
so
signing.
I feel a lot more comfortable with him on the roster than where we were at going into the season.
Absolutely. Even as a half Packer fan, I think the Packers should be concerned about the Viking secondary.
Yeah. I think the best bet,
even with the Packer depth at wide receiver.
Yeah, and I like the Packers wide receivers actually. Other than Christian Watson, I'm done with him.
You're done with him.
I'm done with Christian Watson. But real quick, and then we'll move on from the Vikings. But I do think that it does make them question things. Now, I do think the Packers receiver core is a little bit quicker, faster than what we got going on. And all you got to do to beat the Vikings right now, I love Harrison Smith. He embodies what it means to be a Minnesota Viking. He's going to retire as a Viking, but he's burnt toast, my man. Like towards the end of last season, you're seeing it. You know, he's kind of looking like, not to hate on Bradbury for the Eagles. You know, he's just starting to look burnt toast a little bit. Darius Slay towards the end of the season, you know, just he's getting burnt.
Did Bradbury get hurt? He's out. What corner? There was a corner for the Eagles that just got hurt.
Oh man,
last week.
know.
I think it was Bradbury.
Was it?
I feel like it was. I'll look it up while you talk. But
yeah. Moving on from the Vikes again. Dalvin Cook 1-year deal in Dallas. We kind of already mentioned that. Not a ton to talk about there. Dallas needs some help in the backfield. They got it. If he can stay healthy, I think he does make a difference there for that offense, but it's the health factor at this point. And he didn't play much last year. So
He was on a bad Jets team.
He was, but he also didn't. I don't know. There's a reason why he's bouncing around now. You know what I mean?
True.
Giants re-sign Adoree Jackson to a 1-year deal. They really needed to get that deal done. Just helps not solidify their defense, but absolutely makes them feel a little bit better about their secondary, I'd imagine.
They did, because they lost McKinley to the Packers, the safety.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was the key signing for them. They needed that.
For sure. Juju Smith-Schuster to the Chiefs. I did not see again.
Really good.
I did not see if he was going to end up playing for week 1.
I wouldn't be surprised if
I'd imagine he does, but it's going to be probably a lower role for week 1 at least. Or do you think because he's played there before that helps accelerate that process?
Yeah, I think because he's played there before, it's going to accelerate things. He already has a little bit of chemistry with Patrick Mahomes. Yep, and he has some familiarity with the system and everything. That 1 year, even though he then went to New England and it kind of like
that didn't work.
Right.
No, I think he's another great third down option.
Yep.
Another guy that he's not going to necessarily stretch the field at this point, but if you're looking for a guy to get you a first down and run a good route, I think he's still a good option.
And
Kelsey's getting older.
Right. I think it helps kind of take some of the attention off of Kelsey, though.
Yeah, it's going to open him up a little bit more, for sure.
Well, they have Rice and then the rookie.
Well, if he plays in the first week, yeah.
The receiver Rice?
Yeah.
Rashid, how long is he out for?
He's about to get suspended.
It's an ongoing thing.
Yeah, there was a traffic
another car thing. Oh, it's an accident.
We'll talk about it in the Bonehead of the Week.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in the Bonehead of the Week. And then finally, our last signing. I didn't have details on the Juju deal, but our final re-sign, Mike McDaniel getting a 3-year extension, so now he's good through the 2028 season. That was a must. You absolutely have to do that if you're Miami. He's shown you no reason not to. Mm-hmm. He's keeping the Dolphins relevant. I think they're still an option as a lower tier contender. I'm going to call them. Sure. I think there's 2 tiers of contenders. Those, yes, for sure, right? Like the Chiefs, I still think are a contender for me. And then there's like the lower tier contenders that I kind of put the Dolphins into. I think they can.
Is Tua becoming the Kirk Cousins? Can't win a playoff game?
I think he's becoming the Kirk Cousins, the Dak Prescott, where he's always good enough, but not good enough to get to that next
good numbers, regular season.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes. I think you're hitting that right.
I don't personally, but as a Dolphins fan,
I think so. I think they have those feelings.
Yeah. That it's an interesting situation because the first couple of years before Daniels got there, they were looking to go elsewhere.
They were. You know who's not going to watch our podcast now? Tua.
Oh,
good job.
I still like Tua.
Unbelievable.
I'm sure he'll watch it.
I liked him in Alabama, and I hate Alabama.
So about Mike McDaniel, and I agree with you. It's a really good signing. The Dolphins needed to do it. It goes to show you the mentality of the NFL players now is a lot different than it was like 10, 20 years ago.
Well, and we even talk about the Mike Zimmer thing off air. Off air, we talked about the Mike Zimmer thing and how he was saying he's coaching again because he doesn't want it to seem like he was a bad coach. Mm-hmm. Well, I think he just didn't know how to connect with the players of today. And maybe that's what he spent the last, 4 years doing and relearning. I know he was an analyst somewhere, whatever. But I think you're right. I think Mike McDaniel's kind of,
he understands he knows
the player, what the players need nowadays.
He's a player's coach.
For sure.
But I think most coaches, like you're saying in the NFL, it's
going that direction.
How you discipline or corrective actions towards younger individuals these times is different versus how it was in the past.
Yeah.
So and I think he relates, and it's a great signing for them.
For sure, 100%. Any other surprising signings? Did you end up finding the little thing you were looking at?
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring it up when we talk about the Eagles game, but Bradbury's injured reserve.
Uh-oh.
So,
IR. Are we previewing Eagles? Yes, we are. We'll talk about that then. Let's head into... We just got a couple little tidbits of news, as we'd like to call it.
News.
Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, all named starters in that list. As you saw, Drake May is not included in that. Who is it? Jacoby Brissett, I believe, is getting the start in New England. And then Russell Wilson getting to start over Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. We kind of all knew Jaden Daniels would start, Caleb Williams would start, Bo Nix. So the weird thing about Bo Nix, really quick, something I read. So Bo Nix is starting, obviously. The backup, I can't remember who his direct backup is.
S.
Is it Stidham or something?
Yep.
Stidham himself thinks that he can be a starter in the league. And then the GM for the Broncos came out and said that he thinks Zach Wilson can be a starter in the league. So they got 3 starters in Denver.
Yeah. So they're Super Bowl pretty much, right?
Yeah, they're set. I just thought it was funny. I was like, so we're getting 3 different stories here. We know Bo Nix is starting, and that's cool. Personally, I would have taken Zach Wilson here as a backup. Maybe. I think he could still start somewhere. I don't think it'll be in Denver. I think Bo Nix does look pretty solid right now.
Yeah,
he had a great preseason.
Yeah, I think, and he's walked in a perfect situation with Sean Payton as offensive minded.
For sure.
He's an older rookie quarterback, so he's got a ton of balls. He's played a lot of football, so he can move a little bit. He's just got to work on a few things, I think, overall, in NFL versus college. He had more of a really quick throwing offense in Oregon. Yep. So it's just a little bit of a different game, but hey, as a Denver fan, I'd feel a little more comfortable going in this year than Russell Wilson.
Right. How do you feel about facing Russell Wilson in your division? Scared at all? Doesn't scare you at all?
It's a little scary. If you think about, he still throws a really good deep ball, and you got Pickens out there.
He's crazy fast.
Yeah, crazy fast, great hands.
That's about it.
Yep.
That's about it.
They have Arthur Smith, their new offensive coordinator, former Falcons head coach. I think you're going to see a lot of play action because that's what he ran in Tennessee with Derrick Henry and Ryan
Wilson's
Tannehill.
A solid play action quarterback.
Absolutely. So I think that there's, I think that plays to Russell Wilson's skill set.
Sure. How do you feel about Russell Wilson?
I'm down on Russell. I just feel like ever since Seattle, he's lost a half a step, and he was kind of that improviser quarterback. that he relied on it and kind of extended a plays, and then it hit that deep route, after it. It's that 1, 2, 3 set. Don't like my second read. Is he does he escape, take his eyes down and move, or is he actually going to deliver the ball? And he needs to continue doing that.
And I know you're also down on Justin Fields, I'm pretty certain, but how do you feel about, do you think the Steelers actually want Justin Fields at all? Or do you think they just, I don't know, made a trade to appease their fans? Hey, we got a backup to Russell Wilson type deal?
They got him cheap, and he's still a top 40 quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I think there's still that potential there. I personally like Justin Fields, but
I'm not like Courtney. I think I brought QB1 back in high school. Yeah, I'm out on Justin Fields.
You were out on him when he was an 18-year-old.
Yeah, I was out then too.
Got it. Yep,
Right.
yep. Jamar Chase still looking for a new deal. He's been holding out. Even if it's one penny better than Jay Jettis, he's happy. I feel like it's a no-brainer for the Bengals who have Joe Burrow locked up. You got to give him his number one option. I think you have to pay Jamar Chase. But is he worth the 35 mil and 1 penny a year?
What do you think, Ravens fan? Do you want to see him play this year?
Of course, I don't want to see him play this year. He's worth every penny. So yeah, you gotta pay the man his money. He's earned it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him, but yeah.
I agree, but he's kind of like with JJ. They weren't on their final year. They still had 2 years left on their contract. And it's not only usually quarterbacks typically got that money early.
Yeah, but that's changing now.
It does, but it's, the
it's
Bengals ownership, it hasn't changed. So that's the difference. They play a little more hardball with their money.
Didn't Justin play through his 4th year before resigning or getting his extension?
I thought Jay Jettis was heading into his final year this year.
Yeah,
this season.
But they talked about his contract last year and trying to get a deal done
he
too.
He didn't hold out last year, but it was a big news thing, and then the season hit, and then it went quiet.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Jamar Chase, continue to hold out, please.
Yeah.
I think he should get paid. He's top 5, top 10, top 8.
He's top 3 for me.
Top 3. With Joe Burrow throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But is it that they have probably the second receiver in the NFL with T. Higgins? Does that make hold up a little bit?
And now T. Higgins got a new deal, didn't he, this offseason? I don't think they wanted him to franchise tag. He didn't. And then I think they got him a new deal. I can't remember. But I know he was going into the last year too. And they were like, well, we can't keep both. So that's probably where they're at.
So maybe they're just going to sit out a year on it and hold off for it just because they don't have that money available.
Yeah. And then they'll just pay more for him next year.
True.
Right.
He did sign a 1-year deal. That does sound like the franchise tag to me because it's a 1-year deal, $21 million contract.
That sounds about league average.
That's what I mean. It sounds like a franchise tag deal. Just a quick little search because I can't remember. But maybe it, who was named team's designated franchise player. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Hassan Reddick, after getting traded to the Jets, is still holding out. It's a little scary for the Jets. I mean, a guy who you're bringing in to rush the quarterback, something you desperately need on that defense, and now he's holding out. We were talking about it off air. About you'd think you'd make that trade with that deal already in place or something already in mind. There wasn't. The GM isn't concerned, I guess. He still thinks he's going to show up. So does Saleh. Is that how you say his name? Head coach for the Jets? Saleh. Robert Saleh. I'm going to call him Robert. That's easier. Robert. According to them, they still think he's going to show up, and Robert thinks he's going to be ready, game ready enough for week 1 and that he'd play.
Yeah, and you add him to that defense, what I think I was considering already top 5 already in the NFL.
Yeah, you had him very high.
And you're saying it's just odd that they made the trade and they're not, no deal was in place or just something else go wrong that we don't know about. It's just a goofy, weird story.
Yeah.
The latest here says New York Jets reporters hint that Hassan Reddick holdout will end in the next 48 hours. And that was yesterday, so I guess to be seen. To be seen. Real quick, not even really worth mentioning, Kadarius Toney has been waived again.
Shocking.
Is that your old boy or what?
He's fast. No, he's just fast. I don't know. I don't know why I even have him on there. I don't know. Somebody will pick him up, whatever.
No, they won't if they're smart.
Real quick, last news thing, and this will have to be real quick because we got to keep it moving here. But flag football is set to make its Olympic debut in 2028. Should NFL players be allowed to participate? I know that quarterback or whatever for the team is like, no, you know, I'm just as good as Mahomes type deal, blah, blah, blah. Should NFL players even participate? Should teams write it into their contract that they cannot so they don't risk tearing an ACL or something insane? You know what I mean? Is it legal to write that into a contract? I know I'm throwing a lot of things at you, but
it's such a conflict of interest, I think. And at the money level, I don't know that if they would participate in. I just don't foresee it happening with NFL players.
I don't know.
Would I like to see it? Yes,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
That's what I mean. But like, do you think teams will have to be like, hey, Jamar Chase, here's this nice fancy $35 million and 1 penny deal, but you are not playing in the Olympics in 2028, big dog. Like, we are not having you tear an ACL out there. Can you even do that?
I don't know.
Well, I think they write stuff into contracts. I think about like Ben Roethlisberger. He had things written into his contract where he's not supposed to be riding motorcycles and stuff like that.
Or at nightclubs.
Yeah. And what did he do? He rode a motorcycle, got into an accident, almost died. So,
right.
Yeah.
True. Interesting.
Yeah. They write those kinds of things in there. I think
but if they write it in there, it's just like, and nothing happens, right? Let's say they don't get injured and everything goes well.
Yeah. Like no
extracurricular. And they win a gold medal and crap. Does the team just find them then? Can a team find a player or does it come from the league only?
That's really interesting.
What I mean?
Yeah,
like, we told you no, you did it anyway. Now you lose money.
I think the NFL would be wanting the players
for sure
for marketing.
So.
Yeah, for marketing,
to make it more global.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an interesting take.
Because I mean,
is that where teams now and owners come back and they're like,
because then you're fighting against the shield.
No,
well, the NBA does it.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, you think about the NBA does it, the Dream Team, or even now,
right? Like
a lot of the national teams, like Canada's team, Serbia, Spain, they have a lot of professional NBA players.
NBA plays at the national level. NHL plays at the national level. Yeah. MLB, when the World Baseball Classic comes around, they all play for their country. So it's tough. It's tough. And then the other argument from the flag football players is like, no, we busted ourselves to get to this level to be able to make this an Olympic sport, and now you guys are just going to come in and take it from us. It's an interesting argument too. I get that feeling, but then it's like, well, then be better, right? But
yeah,
you're not better than Patrick Mahomes. That's the thing.
But has any NFL players actually came out and said, "Yeah, I want in"?
I don't think so.
I
heard that.
I don't think there's really an interest in. That's why I don't think that they'll participate at all.
Just not even a question for you.
I think they just get too much money now. Like and I don't know.
Knowing that could be taken away from you if you got injured at the Olympics, is it worth it? Like,
and is flag football really football? Like if all the other sports,
that's a different conversation.
I don't think that Jamar Chase is going to be like, oh yes, I need to go play for my country for flag football.
For sure. With that ends our news, and we'll head right into Bonehead Move of the Week.
Genius!
And for the first Bonehead Move of the Week of the season, kind of, we're bringing back Jordan Addison from the preseason, but we'll add Rashee Rice in there too. Receivers fast on and off the field. So, again, these young receivers, specifically this season anyway, but these young players coming into the league, getting that fat stack of cash, their first payment, go out and buy a fast car. I'd do the same thing.
Sign me up.
But then it's like we still got to, follow the law. Got to be careful. Or we're going to get in trouble. So, first Bonehead of the year is kind of just our young receivers here making bad decisions in fast cars. And then I also thought it was kind of funny, not really a bonehead move by the Chargers players or by anybody. It's just kind of a malfunction, but Chargers players stuck in an elevator for a hot minute. Did you guys hear about that one?
I did not.
Yeah, there's including Justin Herbert was among them, but a group of players and staff or whatever stuck in an elevator for a little while.
Oh, hopefully he wasn't kicking the door there, Justin. We need that foot.
Yeah, no doubt, which is healthy. He should be ready to go.
Yes.
But any comments on more so the receivers, but these younger players getting the money and then just making bad decisions with them right away. I mean, it's you'd think that the NFL would have people in place, and maybe they do, to talk to these guys about taking care of their money right off the rip, because it's probably the most money they've ever seen, be the most money I've ever seen. I know that for a fact. But it's just decision making. You can lose it all. We saw it with Henry Ruggs, as an example. And I hate to, bring that up. I know he feels like crap about it, but I mean, it's an example.
Speed kills. That's all I'm going to say.
Speed kills. It does. It does. So, hopefully we have no more car incidents on our bonehead of the week for the rest of the season, but that will be it for week 1.
Yeah. I prefer like drink skin thrown on people. That sounds like a little more.
Yeah, by David Tepper.
There we go.
Classic, right? He was Bonehead Move he was a Bonehead Player of the Year last year, so for Banter with the Boys. So.
HOF.
See if he makes it again 2 times. He's going for 2-time Bonehead Move of the Year. But Kev, let's head right into that next week's 5-game slate. And of course, the first game on the slate is going to be the Vikings at the New York Giants.
Yeah, buddy, I'm ready.
You ready?
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm so excited. Football's here. This is the best time of the year right here.
I'm very nervous.
You're nervous?
Very nervous.
You have no reason to be nervous.
I absolutely do. I absolutely do. We've already lost to this Giants team in the playoffs. However, I'm nervous more so about who we have starting at quarterback. I do think Sam Darnold will have a pretty good year. I think he can have a top 15 season in the league. I think there's weapons for him on offense. It's just a matter of getting him in a real regular season game in KOC's system and let him buck. Let's see what happens. I think the defense is going to rebound nice for us. And for the Giants, the best hope for them is that Danny Dimes comes out and throws some darts. But if I'm a Giants fan, I'm not taking the over on like 5 wins.
No, I'm not either. And when's the last time we see Danny Dimes play really good football against the Vikings? And, that was almost 2 years ago.
Facts.
The running game's down. My worry, though, we're losing. We don't have our complete set of weapons. And do I trust Sam Darnold if we get down by 10 early that we have to put all the weight on his shoulders to bring us back? Yes. So that's the question that needs to be answered for Vikings fans. Is Sam Darnold that guy?
I do. If Aaron Jones is healthy, yeah. I think Aaron Jones takes some weight off those shoulders.
So you would say Aaron Jones is the X factor then in the game?
I think for week 1, yes. Until Darnold gets a little bit more comfortable, and we'd assume he's comfortable right now. Heading into week 1, you'd like to assume that. But I think Aaron Jones will be the X factor for the Vikings offense specifically, but probably as the team as a whole. For how that game goes. But I'm going to take the Vikes.
I'll take the Vikes. I think Sam Darnold is going to be sneaky good.
Top 15.
At least out of week 1.
You're putting a little only week 1. I like asterisk.
I mean, everything changes over the course of the season.
That is true.
So nobody really knows what Sam Darnold is going to be, but he spent a year in San Francisco under Shanahan. Yeah. So sitting back and actually learning the position instead of like trial by fire in New York as a Jet in Carolina. And he had flashes of like really good stuff in Carolina before he got hurt 2 years ago. So I think he's going to be probably put more faith in him than you already are. Like he's, sure. I think he's going to be better.
This is probably the best situation other than being a backup in San Francisco. Yep. This is the best situation he's had of his career.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to show that to us now, whether or not the Vikings end up going with JJ McCarthy next year or giving Darnold like that little 3-year deal for Geno Smith. Then what happens with JJ McCarthy? There's a lot of factors, but we're just excited to get going. I'm not going to worry about that until like halfway through the season. And then maybe we'll think about it.
Yeah, would you say if Sam did what Baker did in Tampa last year, it'd be a successful year?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it gets him a 3-year deal at least somewhere. Whether it's Minnesota or not, gets him a 3-year deal somewhere. Yep.
And I like to your point when you were saying that he was with in San Francisco last year. Baker was in L.A. the year before he went to Tampa, so he got a year under or some time under a offensive-minded coach build that confidence back up. And maybe that's our Baker this year.
Yeah, well, let's hope for it. You taking the Vikes?
I'm taking the Vikes.
Skull, of course. The Vikings are only favorited by 1.5 right now today. Interesting.
But it's there. So typically you get 3 points as the home team. So Vegas is, I guess, would be looking at us as
4.5, essentially.
The favorite.
Fair enough. Yeah, good point. Moving right along. Keeping with tradition on Banter with the Boys, Gridiron updates. We are going to talk about the Packers games every week. We have a lot of Packers fans around us. So the Packers are traveling to Philly. That's a tough one.
No, it's in Brazil.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Brazil. That's on Friday, right?
Friday night. Yeah. So that's going to be a full bars in Green Bay through Wisconsin on a Friday night.
Philly favorited by 3 at the moment. I'm taking the Packers on this, and I only say that because I think the Eagles will get better as the season goes on. I think the Packers are going to come out with some voodoo magic right off the bat. I don't know. I'm just feeling the Packers for some reason. I usually don't, so it's weird. It makes me feel weird. Definitely not warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
But what do you think the Packers will do down there in Brazil?
I think they'll lose. Actually, I'm going to go with the Eagles. I don't know if I'm completely sold on Josh Jacobs.
Really?
They're being the total bell cow for them.
Like health-wise,
not even health-wise. I don't know if they'll establish the running game consistently and give him enough touches to become, fully established into the game.
But when they would give Jones touches last year, that's when they started winning. When Jones came back,
but you also added, when he came back,
For sure.
So, but before that, I don't know. He needs at least 25 touches. Then I think he's a whole different player.
Oh, snap! He's got to have 25.
Yeah, catching and running the balls.
Oh, touches. Okay,
yeah,
not
overall.
rushes, but touches.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
I feel like he's better when he's involved in the game more.
For sure.
Like most players are too. So
yeah.
But I just think I don't know. I think Philly's offense is losing their center, but otherwise they got pretty much everybody back, and they got Saquon Barkley.
They do, but like I'm still thinking about last season, and Philly's offense last year just didn't look the same to me. And again, I'm in the belief that Jalen Hurts played hurt all year, and there was nothing that ever came out about that. But ever since like week 2 or 3 last year,
against the Vikings, I think we got hurt. Yep.
He looked not right for the rest of the season.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still riding that. I just don't think they're quite ready. I didn't watch any of their preseason other than the one we played, which doesn't really tell us anything about heading into week 1. So I don't know. I'm just feeling the Packers on this. Jake, who do you got?
This one's tough. I think I'm going to take the Eagles, though. I think they have better weapons across the board.
Sure.
And the Packers defense is questionable at best, at least from last year. So with a new defensive coordinator, you don't know what you're going to see from them. So I know what I'm getting out of an Eagles defense.
I would see that's kind of the same.
Point.
Yeah,
but they are missing Bradbury, right?
They are missing Bradbury, and then I think it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be a shootout. So I think in the 30s, possibly
for both teams. You think
they're going to be touching and around it? So
fair enough. Yeah, no, that'll be fun. It's a Friday night game. It'll be exciting to watch. Let's talk about that. Your boys, the Ravens.
Here we go.
Traveling the most exciting game of the week.
Kansas City to open the season in T-minus 3 days. Kansas City favorited by 3. Jake, we are absolutely starting with you, brother.
Gosh.
You're going Chiefs, right?
Yeah, for sure.
He thought about it, though. We talked about it pre-show. He's not confident in his squad.
It's hard to pick against Patrick Mahomes. 100%.
It is. And Vegas.
Yeah. Well,
screw him.
The house doesn't always win.
True.
I think we are going to see King Henry on full display. That was one of the things that Kansas City struggled with a lot of the season, was stopping the run, and that's what the Ravens do best. That's what Detroit did really great last year too. They ran the ball down their throats, and I expect to see the same thing. So I am going on the record. Sorry, Kansas City, you were going 0-2 in Super Bowl banner games.
Dang. Okay. Interesting. I think it's going to be a great game. Probably Last year we had Banter the Boys Game of the Week. I would probably safely say that this is Banter the Boys Game of the Week for us.
I would say, and it's the opener. Like it doesn't get any much better than this.
Yeah.
Good job, NFL schedulers. This is a good one.
Yeah, for sure. Rob, Ravens at Chiefs.
I mean, this is really, it's pretty much a toss up. But I'm going to go with Baltimore. I'm going with.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nice.
Whoa. Going with the Ravens. Why? What are you seeing?
I just,
makes you want to go Ravens?
Same concept like Detroit last year. Establish the run early season. Offense usually aren't in full clicking mood, you know, and Baltimore's defense with Hamilton on the backside, Smith, they're loaded. I think they're going to really bother Patrick Mahomes to start the first game off.
I think so too. I know last year Detroit went into Kansas City, right? And
Correct.
won week one.
So this would be the same scenario.
I think this one's different. I think there's a different feel to this game. And I'm not saying, we know Detroit's been getting better, and so does everybody else in the NFL. So I'm not saying the Chiefs went into it thinking that they would roll over Detroit, but I think they were pretty confident that they would win. I think this one they know is going to be a battle.
Okay.
And I think Kansas City is more battle tested than Baltimore, arguably. Baltimore's been in some tough games.
Against the Chiefs.
Against the Chiefs, the Bill, I mean, everybody, man. But I'm going Kansas City. I think it's hard to go into Arrowhead and win. I think the Lions doing it last year was crazy. I mean, I was happy for the Lions. I'm not a fan of Kansas City. I don't hate the Ravens, but I got to go Kansas City here. Like you said, it's hard to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be a great game. I'm excited that we get to start the NFL season off with that on a Thursday night at 7:20.
I'm just excited
anyway.
You're starting off 0-2.
That I'm starting off 0-2?
You know, your first two games you picked, you're going 0-2.
Well, so you're not counting the Vikings game? That doesn't count for you?
Oh, true. My bad.
So I'm 1-2, buddy. In your mind, I'm 3-0 in my mind. So that's cool. We'll move on. Our next game to watch, I'll let you say your line so I don't steal it. But the Jets at the 49ers.
Is Aaron Rodgers going to play more than 40 seconds again?
Ooh.
Again, I'm going to hype myself up for this one. Truly. I was really hyped for last year's game when he came out with the American flag, New York Jets. I'm like, oh, it's a new window. The Jets have a great defense. They're Super Bowl contenders, and that ended in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I have the same questions as last year. I'm curious what that Jets offense will look like with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. But no way in heck for me are they beating the 49ers. No way. And let me get you the spread here. This is a Monday night game at San Francisco. San Francisco is favorited by 3.5.
So that's the home, pretty much. So that Vegas is saying it's pretty much a draw.
This is San Francisco's window. They're gonna. It could be a good game. I hope it's a good game. I hope Aaron Rodgers. Can't believe I'm saying this, but I hope Aaron Rodgers plays a great game. I want to see him do well in a different offense, so he can prove to me that he's not no Tom Brady level where he's going to go and win the dang Super Bowl in his first year in the new team. But essentially, this is his first year. But yeah, I'm going 49ers all day in their house.
I'm going 49ers with you. So, again, it's going to be another good game. I'm really interested in, I think, Breece Hall, whether he can establish the run against the 49ers. If they do that,
defense to run on.
If they end up doing that, that's where I could see the Jets pulling out. But I just don't see it against the 49ers defense of them establishing enough of Breece Hall to take the win in San Francisco. It's not in San Francisco.
I think you both forget how smart Aaron Rodgers is and his ability to dissect and interpret the defenses. Close. I'm going to take Jets.
Okay.
Going Jets.
Can't let it go, huh?
No, Breece Hall was really good last year, even with bad quarterback play. So is their wide receiver.
Garrett Wilson?
Yeah. So now if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy or is healthy for the game, I think Aaron Rodgers is the difference maker there.
Interesting.
It's not going to be a matter of Shanahan versus Saleh, who's gonna outplay who offensive X's and O's. I think it's gonna come down to Aaron Rodgers.
Fair enough. I think so too.
I think it's gonna be the opposite versus those two coaches. I think it's the 49ers defense versus the offense of the Jets. You know, whether their line can hold up is the reason why I picked the 49ers versus the Jets, because the last year that was the issue. They addressed a little bit this year, but we still haven't seen it with Rodgers behind. So that's my biggest concern with the Jets line.
And we still have a week. They play in a week. There is still a week for the Jets to go out and get Devontae Adams. Ooh. They still have a week to do it.
You really want that to happen, don't you?
No.
There's no way the Raiders are trading him.
If it did, it'd be crazy. Poor fella. Yeah, so let's move on to Steelers at Falcons. We were kind of torn. We had another game up there between a couple young quarterbacks. But this one we felt, since the Steelers have a new quarterback, the Falcons have a new quarterback. Two, I guess you could say, established veteran quarterbacks in the league. We figured it was an interesting matchup. Jake actually decided between the two games for us. So, Jake, I'll let you start it off. Who's got it between the Steelers and Falcons in Atlanta?
I'm going to take Steelers over Falcons.
Interesting.
Steeler defense, I know what I'm getting out of them. TJ Watt's going to be a train wreck.
Is he healthy, ready to go for week one?
He doesn't have to be healthy to get like 2 sacks and 8 hurries and anything else.
Just shows up and just sacking quarterbacks. I like it.
Yep, absolute motor.
I think he's healthy. He's waiting for his first child to come out. So,
who do you think the difference maker in that game is then?
I think it's going to be. I think it's your running backs. I think it's going to be Najee Harris and Bijan Robinson.
I like that matchup. I like that matchup.
Who's gonna get more touches? Last year, everybody was like pounding the table that Bijan needed more touches, and he wasn't getting them.
I would agree. He needed more touches.
And so, are the Falcons with new head coach, new offensive coordinator? Are they going to actually do that? Kirk Cousins is gonna.
You know what you're getting with Kirk.
Yep.
As well. You know, you might get 2 tuds, you might get a pick, but you're probably getting 2 tuds and
it's not a primetime game, so he's not gonna choke.
Nah, that's garbage. That's out the door now. He's broken that spell. Oh my God. But you're going Steelers though, huh?
Yep. Going Steelers.
With your AFC North
look
experience.
At that. All visiting teams.
Look at you.
You are doing all visiting teams.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. Not going to happen, but
I would agree that's not going to happen. I think Kirko's coming in large and in charge. They're going to establish the run. New coaching staff. They've heard it all. And then London's going to just tear that defense up. I think it's going to be a great.
I hope so.
My fantasy team too, please.
There it is.
That's finally how to drop it in there
to tear it up.
So, but yeah, I think Atlanta. I have them winning the division, so I think they come out strong first week. I'm not a fan of Wilson and them, but it's hard to bet against Mike Tomlin. For somehow I
love Mike Tomlin.
I do too. Every time he just finds a way to get his team above 500.
He does.
Every year, you know?
And that's a great point.
But then, he's going to have to find another way because they're going to lose the opening weekend against the Falcons.
Fair enough. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you. And I think it's all Kirk Cousins for me, but I'm a big Kirk Cousins guy, so whatever. But I think it gives that team as a whole just a new energy, even though who's the rookie they drafted? What's his name?
Penix,
even though he's been looking pretty solid, I think still bringing in an established quarterback just makes it a different feel. I think if Kirk Cousins is on that Atlanta team when they faced us last year, we would have lost that game. The Vikings would have.
I totally agree with that.
So I don't know. I just got to go with Atlanta. I think there's just new energy, it's breath of fresh air. They're at home. That place is going to be rocking. I think the fans have a new energy there coming into this season. It's a winnable division. I don't think they're winning the division, but it's a very winnable division. If they don't, it'd be by 1 win. You know what I mean? Like, it's them or the Bucs.
Yeah, you have the Bucs. I think we also said this is probably maybe the worst division, or is it?
It's down there. It's down there.
I would agree. That's probably the worst division in football.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see a 9-8 team.
Win the division.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's what did the Bucs go last year?
9-8, or did they get to 10? I can't remember.
They were somewhere right around there, but I think
the Saints are a dumpster fire, and who else? Panthers are in that division.
Yeah. I mean,
whatever.
That explains
good
it
luck,
all.
Bryce Young. Come on here, buddy. But with that wraps up week 1 of Gridiron updates. Jake, Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. This was great.
Jake will be here next week to recap.
Rub it in everyone's faces.
Oh, not even to recap the game, to rub it in everybody's faces.
Yeah.
Well, mine, because he took Ravens too.
That's true.
That's true.
But all the Kansas City fans' faces.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you'll be here for that.
Yeah.
And then if you don't win, I'll be here to let you know that you were wrong.
And I hope that all of the listeners and viewers throw that into the comments. Definitely.
Talk crap on
yeah,
you.
absolutely.
You should.
Yep. If he's wrong, comment.
Yeah. And all you guys can join us too. We have a Pigskin Pickem set up. I'll throw the link on the bottom side of this video so you can come in there, make all the picks too, play along with us all season long. So it'll be fun. And we'll make fun of you too.
We got to put those picks into ourselves.
Yeah,
they're
you
playing
probably
with us.
should.
I
Yeah,
probably should. I got to get that figured out real quick. But with that, obviously, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, whether it's YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you get the banter. And we'll see you next week for week 2 of Gridiron Updates. Don't forget that this episode, again, was brought to you by the Cappy 4-pack on Amazon. Peace.
Don't forget to follow, like, and subscribe. Tune in next time for more Banter with the Boys.